Collected Essays of Valerie Lynn Stevens. Caveat Twitter or, now X or. Meaningless, 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 said the tweeter. Everything is meaningless. In this day of rampant social media, many well-intentioned, sensitive, and highly intelligent souls feel a certain kind of both ennui and frustration as it relates to its many venues. Indeed, after a few months of Twitter, now X, one most likely would come to a point of suicidal and/or homicidal ideation, a full-blown existential crisis, that is. And one's life needn't even be that empty to begin with to reach this point. One can also have a well-rounded existence and life and still feel that way after countless marketing strategies posing as social interactions. But the thing is, as we used to say, you gotta learn to take the good with the bad, right? Or do we? First of all, that adage should say instead, take the bad with the good. After all, no one starts out in any endeavor in life hoping to gain something bad out of it, no matter how much of a masochist or a self-defeatist one might well be. We all, no matter our level of emotional maturity and/or development, need a certain level of depth and meaningfulness, even, dare I say it, intimacy to be exchanged in our social interactions and so-called connections. And I don't mean to conjure up stereotypical images of the basement hermit who never interacts with the outside world in any meaningful or responsible way. No, those individuals choose the virtual world as a substitute for the outer world. I love the outer world. In healthy doses, of course, as with all things. So, without further ado, let's break this down into smaller, more manageable bits and bytes, of course. From here on out, I will refer to all social media conglomerates as Twitter, or those who use them regularly, myself included, as Twitterers, under the heading to Twitter or not to Twitter. Of course, it would be tweet or not to tweet, and now what would it be now that it's X? Nevertheless, the pros and cons. Pros and their successive cons. Provides an alternative way to reconnect with loved ones and friends, etc., that one would not either feel appropriate for other methods or that one would not be able to achieve through other methods. Of course, the obvious con to the above pro being that it opens you up to potential negative and indeed traumatic experiences, rejection, and in general all of the possible vagaries of the human-to-human dialectic. But the pro to this con, if you will, is that you're already well versed in those kinds of vagaries. So, it can't get any worse, right? Although, maybe it can. Provides a convenient forum through which to browse a wondrously eclectic array of art, literature, including blogs, and to learn about other cultures, belief systems, etc. Now, you may be thinking that your public library can and does offer these wonders and amenities for the most part already, but not all from the same monitor, a few clicks of a mouse and some strokes on a keyboard. The also obvious con to the aforementioned pro is that, again, the more we broaden our consciousness, the more vulnerable it is to those darker principalities which seek their willing vessels. But again, the same is true for life before social media, right? Or is it, at least as prevalently? Provides a way to purchase services and/or goods with a few clicks of a mouse and strokes on a keyboard and have them delivered to your personal and/or other preferred residence within a relatively convenient period of time. Con. Spams you with a whole bunch of crap and people that you neither need nor want, thereby making you feel a bit like a piece of marketing meat or a punching bag for some mentally unbalanced and malfeasant individual. thus making you question the whole of its usefulness and even desirability in articles just like this one. Provides an occasional moment of appreciation and or connection with another human being that is genuine and deeply meaningful. Con. Seems to cancel out the aforementioned pro by being pathologically too scarce and inconsistent with itself. One begins to feel that they are possibly and definitely unwittingly in a relationship with an emotionally abusive entity of artificial intelligence. Oh, by the way, I also mean the humans. Bots, not unlike algorithms, are programmed and manned by real live, morally culpable, human individuals. Provides a raison d'etre through the wonderfully autonomous mediums of blog sites, author pages, live journals, business forums, etc., for those of us who thrive best in those independently minded and artsy intellectual kinds of environs. Caveat Twitter XOR, if not balanced with work and social connections out in the quote unquote concrete world, may turn into the con of making one feel more disconnected and more existentially null and void than one ever felt before becoming a quote unquote Twitterer or tweeter. Can provide a way to feel connected, makes one feel more disconnected. Those two just seem to keep popping up, don't they? Gives one a sense of purpose, gives one a sense of insignificance. Yeah, those two keep popping up too. Provides a virtual life supplement to entertain, enlighten, and enliven you when you're not out in the quote other world doing other things. Con. If taken as the main course, in the intellective, emotive, gustatory sense, of course, can render one with a potentially fatal case of impoverishment, malnourishment, and mental rickets, which may lead to dementia. All in all, we can conclude that social media is meant to be taken supplementally, not as the main course. As with all things, balance, right? What else could possibly be noted about social media and its effects affects? Huh. Yeah, it seems to affect us more than it effects us, doesn't it? At least in the external metaphysical sense. Not much more can be said, I suppose, because it seems to keep boiling down to the same two salient pros and cons. It helps us feel connected, but makes us feel even lonelier than we ever did before its advent. And secondly, it gives us a sense of purpose when we employ ourselves meaningfully within it, but at the same time impoverishes us existentially and psychospiritually, no matter how conscientiously we utilize it. Hence, in finale, I suppose it all boils down to this: progress has its limitations. We cannot escape the human predicament. In a sense, this revelation has its comforts more than its inflictions. For with this being known, we are free to follow whatever path we choose, knowing now that it will continue to lead us to the same place, no matter which road we take. Yet, if we are utilizing it properly and responsibly, we will be gaining inward growth and evolution in a positive direction. It also serves to relieve our consciences by reminding us that we are often not even the problem, and thus we need not seek to fix it, whatever our current sufferings might be. We must merely accept things as they are. We must merely continue to make the most out of the human condition that we find ourselves in and do the best with what little this world in the way of true, everlasting sustenance has to offer. Now that is all well within our purview.